Live from New York.
What?
These guys.
What happened?
I mean, there were some predictions made, and
Mac
some
Jones is
predictions
back.
that
I
were
predicted
right.
that years
I mean,
ago.
Brou gets to be happy today. Brou's Ravens won.
Yeah.
You called the Eagles-Chiefs game almost to a T. You, on the other hand, oddly, even though I picked the wrong team, my Chiefs-Eagles prediction was closer to accurate than yours. If Brou, fair or not. I had a 3-point deficit. Either team could win. I picked Kansas City. You picked a demolition.
The differential.
40-point embarrassment.
This is for Patriots and Mac Jones.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know. I missed. We were both wrong.
Okay. All right. Fair.
I thought it was going to be a big game from Jalen. It wasn't. No, this is just Mac Jones and Patriots specific.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, a little bit of Cam Ward. He had a good play.
Cam looked good.
A
play.
A little bit of Bryce.
But I mean,
A little bit of Bryce had some good plays in a
play.
loss.
They won the hunt.
A little bit of Bryce.
Bryce?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
A little bit of Malik Neighbors, top 3 wide receiver.
No, first of all, that's not even your guy.
I
Second
just-
of
Well,
all,
Neighbors is not.
buddy,
Neighbors is
be
my guy.
careful.
Who was throwing him that ball? Russ is back.
Oh, this guy. Wow.
We might do a show that's just the intro.
You floated that. Wild sent a late night fever dream email that was essentially that. Like, what if we just do a, did you see this?
Yeah,
for
did you see?
20 minutes.
Hey, did you see? With no
you see?
video. But we're starting with an 0-2 start for Kansas City. Mahomes loses 3 in a row for the first time in his career. Also 3 straight to Jalen Hurts. Kelsey coughs up the ball on the goal line. Seemed frustrated during the game. Brou, Nick is still processing this. So we're going to start with you.
I was ready to go. I was going to go first. And then literally 20 minutes before the show started, I was walking around outside the studio, and I got aggressively heckled by an Eagles fan, and I now need a little more time.
So good.
Like, it has gotten like
mean-spirited heckling?
mean-spirited,
Really?
intense,
Wow.
almost kind of like the vibe of it was he wanted me to bark back and see how it would go. So
I was about to say, knowing you, I'm surprised y'all didn't fight.
you know what? There was a show. I have a responsibility to be here on the show. So, but go ahead.
Are the Chiefs in trouble?
Chiefs in trouble. No.
Really?
Look, I know everybody wanted me to come on here and, no. Not as far as making the playoffs and still being a contender. Now, I picked the Ravens to win it all, so I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. Oh. But anybody that's saying, they're 0-2, they're not going to make the playoffs, they're not a contender, that's crazy. So no. And here's the thing. They lost 20-17 to the defending Super Bowl champions who had just blown them away 7 months ago. And to a large degree, I'm not going to say they gave the game away, but they had a lot of self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
First, let's go to their fourth quarter. And I'm going to talk about it. They have this great drive, 17 plays, I think it was, 74 yards or something like that. They get down to Philly 6. Travis Kelce, that's a drop. That's a catch you got to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the best tight ends ever. You got to make that catch. If they make that, they're either tying the game or they're going ahead. Yeah, on that drive, I'm saying if he scores, obviously, a touchdown, they're up 17-13. But at the very least, they're going to tie if they can't score. Like, if he just doesn't, it doesn't get intercepted.
Okay.
So that took point. And then, of course, Philly goes down and gets a field goal. So now they go up 10. And Kelce, it's been a tough start to the season for Kelce. He admitted he ran the wrong route or didn't run it right, and that's how Xavier Worthy got hurt. Now this drop, I get it that he's feeling, it's kind of like CeeDee Lamb from last week. So but that's self-inflicted. I mean, you don't expect him to, he's not going to keep doing stuff like that. Secondly, Mahomes, when the overthrow of Tyquan Thornton.
Brutal.
3:44 left. I think we have it.
Yeah.
We're going to have a show. But you don't get any more wide open than that. And he just flat out missed it.
Were you shocked by that?
But I was shocked by it. But he's missed a few. Again, young season.
He talked about
he
missing
missed
Gray, Noah Gray.
He missed Noah Gray in the first play of the game. That one to me is not nearly as damaging because they hit it 40 seconds later.
But it
the
cost
40
you
seconds matters.
That's
the 40
my point.
seconds matters.
Yeah. They came back
They missed
and scored.
a kick in the game.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
So just things now I'm not saying they would have won. I'm just saying they were right there and they had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. And I think, Nick, too, Andy Reid's 4th and 1 call from his own 36 and the first drive of the third quarter. I don't know what he was thinking.
Andy put it on him. I think he was thinking that they needed to, start the drive, this half off with some momentum and do well. And he obviously also was thinking they'd get it. Would you like to go, KW? Because I think you're probably at least a little more concerned than Brou is.
Yes. The problem is these Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs that I fell in love with. I think the offense obviously is strange. I think the vibe is very strange. I thought the free 4 shirts before the game with Rashee Rice, when he didn't appeal a suspension, I thought it was odd and seems to be I read that as a lack of focus, not support for Rashee Rice. I feel like the Mahomes overthrow was just so uncharacteristic that it struck me as odd. I think the Kelsey, people drop the ball. Everyone drops balls. It's not a big deal. Kelsey being frustrated throughout the game seemed odd. Chris Jones' conversation with Jalen Hurts when he kind of is talking about stats rather than winning seemed uncharacteristic of a champion and a future Hall of Famer like Chris Jones. So the whole thing struck me as odd. That being said, there is a path. Started 0-2 after losing the Super Bowl in the last 20 years. It's the Chiefs this year. We don't know their record. The Bengals made it to the AFC Conference Championship game, and the 15 Seahawks did go 10-6, lost in the divisional round. So it's not. I don't think the normal 0-2 stat, which is I think 12% of teams make the playoffs.
Well, and remember, there's 17 games now.
Yeah, so I still think there's a path. But if this Chiefs team doesn't have.
No, listen, it hasn't
like a Super Bowl hangover.
It hasn't looked
Mahomes
right.
not playing well. Kelsey's not playing well. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I just think I'm talking about them making the playoffs.
If you take it to 0-2 teams that made the playoffs the previous year, which means you're removing the 0-2 teams that were bad the previous year and then bad again. Since they've expanded the field, it's 5 out of 12. So you know what I mean? So that's almost half. So so here's the deal. Kansas City is in some trouble. Okay? Because they are going to have to really fight until they get their weapons back, and even getting their weapons back doesn't fix the following. They right now, the only way they can effectively run the ball is Patrick. Right. And I hate that Patrick is having to do that early.
I think he hates it.
Listen, I have always felt his deadliness as a runner is underrated because statistically he doesn't match up to the other running quarterbacks, but it's because he's so judicious with it. And then if you look at his playoff running numbers, he's as good as any playoff running quarterback ever. The fact that he has felt I needed to activate that immediately is concerning. The fact that he has, unlike last year, an excellent so far left tackle, but he still doesn't seem to be confident in the pocket, which I think has led to some of the overthrows. That part is concerning. The defense's inability, and I thought the defense played great yesterday, but the defense's inability to generate a pass rush without sending the blitz, sending the house, that part to me is concerning, and how difficult the early season schedule is with Rice suspended. Like, they are 0-2 you can come back from. 1-5's tough, and you know what I mean? And I'm not predicting 1-5, but 2-4 I wouldn't even be all that worried because I saw them.
They could be 2-4 too when you look at the schedule.
2-4 is on the board. At this point, and it's crazy to say this as the Chiefs guy, I'd sign up for 3-3, which it's only crazy to say because historically I'd never sign up for any loss in any of these games. So because I think Patrick has played better than his stats show, but has not been peak Mahomes in either of these games. And I think I believe in the infrastructure, I believe in the team, and you guys know, my darkest of moments, I like to see what Vegas is saying.
Sure.
The fact that they still have the 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl, 3rd best odds to win the AFC, which is, again, it's gotten bigger, but the gap between Baltimore and Buffalo is still there, all makes me feel better. The other thing is this, though, Brou, and this is one of the reasons I wanted you to go first, because I didn't want to derail the conversation. None of what we've talked about is the story of yesterday's game. Because the story of yesterday's game is a pretty important seminal moment.
My goodness gracious, we've got.
Because I remember vividly in the first game of Jawan Taylor's career as a Chief. Thursday Night Football, standalone national TV, Chris Collinsworth was like, this guy jumps too often. And the whole world saw it and the whole league saw it. Well, thanks to the great Tom Brady and the great Dean Blandino, who I got to see briefly in Kansas City, they shined a spotlight on what all of us have known for 4 years. Not only is the tush push an ugly play, they jump on it every damn time.
We'll show. That's an overstatement.
When they don't jump on it, it's not quite as effective. And when they do jump on it, it's unstoppable. And yesterday's game will be known as the day the tush push died. So listen, rest in peace, tush push, you've had a hell of a run, and you're going to be allowed to continue the rest of the year.
Not quite R.I.P. It's more of like it got diagnosed with a horrible terminal disease.
Here's the thing. When it is the play you go to on 4th and short, 4th downs that you would never otherwise do, a false start absolutely kneecaps you. They all of a sudden aren't in that. And when you saw yesterday, and they did a good job on the broadcast of pointing it out, and I'll show you 2 tush pushes with obvious false starts, and I'll show you one without one, and you see if you can tell me the difference between them. What you'll see is, Dust, if we can run it, please. The first one is the one Brady was furious about. Both guards jump.
Yeah, that's the one they got the touchdown.
Correct.
Yeah.
Both guards jump. You have no shot. Another one was the right guard jumped. They end up thinking they get the touchdown. They don't. And then if we can show you the one that the Chiefs actually no, that's another one where the guard jumps. My apologies. We can show you what it looks like when nobody jumps. And that's the one they didn't get any yards on. They ended up having to run it again. And now, even in those, the center is lined up ahead of the ball, which is against the rules, but fine. But listen, Jalen is great at it. The Eagles' offensive line is great at it. And it is effective no matter what. It is only unstoppable when the guards are getting the early jump and you got no shot. You at least have a puncher's chance if it's officiated correctly. And the Eagles have been living on the fact that they don't get called for that ever. And the fact that after that, Brou, after the Chiefs called their attention to it, both these guys jumped. They did it again later, and guys jumped, and the guys didn't jump, to me, was a signal. They knew, okay, for this game, the refs might be looking for it. So I think that's noteworthy.
Well, I'm assuming you haven't done this, but I agree yesterday they were jumping. But to say that that's really the reason it's been effective over the last few years, I would have to see. Look at
what is definitively true is the way they line up is against the rules. The center's head
all the time.
Every time the center's head is in front of the ball.
Why is the league allowing that to happen?
Ask the league.
We may have hit a turning point where now the officials pay more attention.
That's the point I'm making.
The letter of the law.
The same thing with the Jawan Taylor, like a bunch of tackles start a tick early or line up a little, but once he got the focus on it. And I think that's, really damaging for your
I've been a guy that's been like, look, as long as the Eagles do it great, but other teams are failing at it, just keep it because they're the only team that's so successful. But yesterday was, I agree, in my mind, it was like the first time I've watched them, like, I'm kind of tired of them going for it. They've done it 6 times.
All right, final word on the
just show the Vikings one real quick.
Oh, jeez, we're doing.
No, that's no. Just if we could, just because and just look at how they're lined up and how they get off the ball. If we just see it, the center is not ahead of the ball. No one jumps early. Now they screwed it up on their own, but my point is that doesn't look pre-snap wise the way the Eagles one looks, which is my point. Like the Eagles have perfected what they're allowed to get away with, and I've never on this show ever complained about officiating, and I won't ever do it. I'm not even complaining about yesterday. What I'm saying is, I think now they are going to be under a closer eye, and I think that matters.
I think this will be the last year of the tush push.
I definitely think it's the last year of the tush push. He's going to run the sprockets off of it.
Yeah.
It also, even by the letter of the law, still be effective, but we'll see. Interesting moment, speaking of the lines, at the end of the game, Chris Jones and Jalen Hurts having a somewhat friendly conversation about stats versus quarterback wins. Okay, Brou, your reaction.
Look, first let me say Chris Jones. I think what he's saying there, at least what he's feeling, is our defense played well. Like, I think that's what he's saying. Y'all got 40 on us last time. Now we held you to 20. So I think he's saying that's what he's thinking in his mind. That's why he's talking trash, even though we're about to lose. Jalen, you had 116 total yards, threw for 101. I think he had like a 78 passer rating against a team you had scored 40 on like months ago. You didn't look good against Dallas, and you talking smack?
Well, he's not allowed to.
I don't like that.
He wasn't talking smack.
I love it! I get wild every single time. I love it!
How did you not take a lap?
Because I'm an actor. That's why. Y'all got to stop dissing me like I don't know how to act.
Bro, I do believe you know how to act, but I also know you would do the show with you. You're interrupting him.
I didn't know. I thought it was an insane
You
thing.
darn right you didn't
can't
know.
even.
Because I'm nice.
You can't even let Rick get his
I'm
single
a
shot
thespian up in
because
here.
you won't shut up and get the bit.
I thought it was a bad take.
You can't blame me. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Not my fault. I'm sitting next to Denzel Washington of sports media.
All right, go ahead.
Look, Jalen, he's a winner. It is why I keep comparing him. I'm comparing him to Terry Bradshaw and Draymond Green. Like, his legacy is not going to be, wow, he threw for 5,000 yards this season. He threw for 45 touchdowns this season. His legacy is going to be, this dude is a winner.
Yes.
And he showed you that. Who cares about the stats? We won.
It's your guy.
Dusty,
The graphic.
we're back. Oh, we have some movement on the
Peyton Manning.
graphic.
Wow.
Look, I agree with Brou, obviously. This is all that he cares about. And the numbers are wild. He has a total of 253 air yards. It's 12 more than Jake Browning, who just started playing
played half
the other
the game.
day.
Yeah.
So the fact that
And where the passes show, while you're talking, Dust, throw up his passing chart from this game. Because it's also where, like, what they're doing, where they're throwing is jarring in how conservative it is, I would say.
the question I have for this, and I will go to the mattresses saying this is all that matters, is Kevin Petula's offense a little more, grinding the gears of what we saw Kellen Moore do? And even though Jalen has had a new offensive coordinator almost every year, is this offense going to eventually fly, or are we just going to have to grind out every game?
Well,
because a little bit, this is a great take, even though it's against my thesis. This is a great take. Right now, the Eagles, this year's Eagles teams has a little bit of last year's Chiefs team.
That's not.
If CeeDee Lamb catches that, it could go another way.
Right.
If Travis Kelce, we've had a lot of just fortuitous things happen. Winning is a skill, but fortuitous things have happened. I would
But
like
you know
a
what
straight
else?
up
Hold on.
Can I
old
add to
school
that?
Hold on.
blowout.
Before you add to it, Brou, I have
Point
to,
differential.
Go ahead, Brou.
Well,
That's your take?
This is how
Never
they
heard that.
remember. This is how they were winning the
Before
year
the
after they
supernatural
lost the
funk.
Super Bowl.
Right,
Yes,
leading
when they
into
were
the
10-1,
supernatural
everybody
funk.
was like,
KW,
they're not playing
you
well
are
enough.
allowed. We've talked about it, and I've just decided I'm going to be okay with it. You are allowed to go on Bill Simmons' podcast
You never
and
said that
present
take.
my takes.
You
as
said
yours.
the Eagles feel very Chiefsy?
What you can't do is take something I said to you in person 3 hours ago in
never
your
said
shared
that to me.
office.
Oh, you
I
might-
said, and I quote.
What?
I was like, the Eagles through 2 games, it feels a lot like, and the way they're being discussed, it's last year's Chiefs. Yeah, they won, but they could have
I swear to God,
lost.
that was, you did not tell, you may have,
KW?
David Beckham may have been
KW?
upstairs, you're confused.
You
You did not tell that to me.
Okay, that's fine. It's, you know what, you're right, Wilds. even though when you were saying it, you were like, wow, I just thought of this. It sounds like someone else's take, which is why I'm going to say that was a great take.
You wouldn't say that.
Okay, that's fine. I agree
But here's
with your
the
take.
other thing. They beat the Chiefs close. They didn't. Now, Dallas was close, too, but Dallas isn't like a joke.
Me, I'm drunk.
No, it's fine. I'm not worried about it. Here, listen. One thing on the quote and the other thing on the bigger discussion. Before I am willing to say Chris was just unprompted talking trash and we're not going to get this,
think that's fair.
I would like to know what prompted that.
I think that's
You know what I mean? Was I don't think it would have been from Jalen.
Remember, they were just coming out of the huddle.
Right.
It might have been the whole game.
No, but I'm saying, and also did an
They said
offensive
he talks
lineman.
trash all the time.
Who?
Somebody said that Chris Jones.
Oh, yeah,
was
no,
great
he is. No.
world-class
I understand,
trash
but what
talk.
I'm saying is, did an offensive lineman say something about them, moving up and down the field? And he's like, man, you didn't even have 100 yards. Right. And then Jalen jumps back in and says, yeah, but we won the game. Like that's, so we're getting half of a conversation, not a whole conversation. That's first of all.
That's always dangerous when you pull these.
But it's fine. Second of all, though, if this is, though, the way they're going to play, then, and this is frustrating for you, I think, there is a ceiling on where Jalen Hurts is going to get to in the quarterback conversation you love to have so much. And that's the cost of doing business. Like Brou, if they reel off, a dynasty, or if they, it's a different story. But you wanted this game, in theory, to maybe be a Jalen Hurts coronation game. You wanted us
to. It felt like it.
Right. That if they did what you said they were going to do and score 40, and he looks awesome, that we have a conversation about, hey, why isn't he the best quarterback in football? But when we see them win a game that way, and Jalen, by the way, to his credit, is okay with it, he's just not going to get the bump that I think you want him to get. Yep. And I think that, by the way, is fair. I don't think that's unfair. I think that's totally legit. Like that's, I think you don't get everything in life always. And if this is what's best for the team, so be it. But it's just, the reason I wanted the passing chart is, I don't know if it's, and Dust, if we have it, great. If not, I'll describe it. It's a lot of dots very close to the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
It's either they're calling a game that doesn't show trust in him, or he is just saying, you know what, I don't need to take any chances. Yeah. No, you know what I mean? There's no chance right there. Like
we don't turn the ball over and control the clock.
Yeah, then whatever.
Give it to Saquon.
Yeah.
And trust the defense and tush push. Mm-hmm. We're going to beat, the former champs in their building. Like, okay, let's do that.
So be it. Yeah.
But
it's hard to become the best quarterback in football.
On first things first, on Tuesday, you're going to be down the mountain.
No, it's not down the mountain. Well, he hasn't gone down the mountain, but you wanted him at the top of the mountain.
Well, now he's got to keep going.
Well, we'll see.
Well, he's going to move up.
Burrow's
going to
He has to move up. Right now, we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, who did win the game, but they lost their franchise quarterback. Turf toe will need surgery. Some reports say 3 months. Some reports say done for the year. It's the latest injury to sideline Burrow. In 2020, of course, it's the knees, 6 games, wrist, 7 games. He's also had a few maladies that sidelined him for preseason games. Cincinnati went 4-11-1 in 29-8 and 23. How concerning is this for Joe Burrow?
Well, it's devastating, and it's now 2 injuries that are incredibly rare for the quarterback. So the wrist injury is remember when he was he's got to talk to baseball teams about that one. He obviously came back from that fine. He had the best passing year of his career the following year. And turf toe to this degree, again, I'm basing this off Brou and my mutual, friend, Dr. David Chow, who said that for a quarterback to have surgery for turf toe is incredibly rare. And sadly, Coach, it also felt to me, watching this game, incredibly inevitable. Going into the year, the conversation on the Bengals was simply, is the defense going to be any better? And I, not so quietly try to be like, man, that offensive line wasn't great last year, and I think it got worse. And in week 1 against Cleveland, he got battered. And in this game, he was getting battered. This wasn't one hit. And when you combine his own immobility compared to the other top quarterbacks with the fact that he really does want to stand in the pocket and hunt for deep shots. You know what I mean? He's not doing what, to be totally clear, Patrick did last year, which is I'm getting rid of the ball, I'm protecting myself. No, he is trying to navigate the pocket. Those things plus the offensive line, he was going to get banged up. And now that it's this bad is obviously awful. Yeah. And for the Bengals, it means to me, I know Browning's played well, their season's over, but because I didn't believe in them if they had Burrow.
Right.
And I just don't know what it means for him career-wise to now have had 3 very substantial injuries to 3 different parts of his body.
Yeah, this is so hard from an organizational standpoint. And how do you plan moving forward where your franchise quarterback 3 different times now has missed significant amount of time? And when you look at it, it is different body parts. And I think the easy way to view this is it's just an O-line problem. But they've poured a ton of resources into the O-line. Yep. And they've poured a ton of resources into this offense. And they've done everything they can to help him be as successful as he can. And that makes a lot of sense. But it has a little bit of a Tua-like feeling where
it's just not concussion.
When it keeps happening, and now it's different body parts, and that was the issue with re-signing Tua, or giving Tua the big contract. There was questions about ability, but he answered a lot of those prior to the contract. Then it becomes a question of one more concussion, and he's out long term. Now with Joe, it's a different body part, but it's a consistent pattern that we're seeing. So how do you plan? Well, how do you plan moving forward, not knowing whether or not your quarterback's going to be able to be there long term on any given season?
Yeah, well, first I'll address the Bengals, who I did pick to make the playoffs. I would think they're not going to do it now. There is a path, though. If you look at their schedule, like they're already 2-0, thankfully for them. But they got Minnesota, Denver. Those are winnable now. We might not have thought so before the season.
By the way, Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy out this week with an ankle injury. So that's going to be the Carson Wentz, Jake Browning.
That's a winnable. Denver's winnable. If you split with Pittsburgh, let's just say there's a split. You got the Jets. You got Chicago, New England, Miami, and Arizona. If they won those, but that would be 10 wins. So I'm just saying, if
you're not writing
if he
them
can
off
come
totally.
back, I don't think they'll make it, but I'm just saying
Browning can play.
Brownie's not bad. They obviously beat
played
Jacksonville.
well when he was there before. Last year, yesterday though, they did win. He also threw the ball. He threw 3 picks. Yeah,
two teams.
But he
I mean, he can win some games for him. So if most optimistic, Joe gets back in 3 months and they're alive, or maybe at the start of the playoffs, I'm just throwing that out there. For his career, this is derailing what could be a Hall of Fame career, maybe still will be, but I'm just saying it's already been derailed by his injuries. And I don't know, Coach, if he's injury prone or it is the offensive line. I know they put resources in it, but if you look at this is where he and Tua differ. He's been the most sacked. This is the most hits taken in the last 20 seasons.
Well, that's a horrifying list to be on.
Right, and because Luck obviously retired after 6 years, and this is Burrow's 6th season. Luck sat out 1 year, so 7 technically. Deshaun's I don't know if the hits took him away or his scandal, but he's not the same quarterback. And now you got Burrow. But he's taken, I think he's since he's been in the league, the most sacked quarterback and the 3rd most hits.
But to Nick's point, if you know that there's an issue, then maybe you can't hunt for those deep balls as much as you want to. And at some point, you got to realize that your availability is more important than some deep shot. And if you have to get the ball out a lot quicker than maybe you want to, in order to set up some selective deep shots, then that's what you have to do, because you on the sideline does nobody any good, doesn't do you any good, doesn't do the team any good, and you can be a hero and play that type of football, but it comes at a cost. And unfortunately, this cost, he keeps paying this bill over and over again.
He plays within the pocket. The quarterback it reminds me the most of, honestly, is Big Ben. You know what I mean? Which doesn't matter if there's dirt at his feet, you know what I mean? Or whether dirt's the wrong word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
people at his feet or whatever it is. But Big Ben was like his superpower, was how big and strong
he was
and
so
tough
hard to
bring down. And so listen, he has now what's the movie? Is it I think it's a baseball movie. It's obviously a baseball movie. The guy's going to become the all-time leader in minor league home runs. And nobody knows that. Bull Durham, thank you.
Nice, Kevin.
I knew you'd know it. KW knows
sports,
great stuff like
sport.
that. You love sport.
You seen Rounders?
Let me make my point.
would
The
love
point's
it.
important. And that was like a record you don't want to have. Joe Burrow now has a very real chance to be the only ever 3-time comeback player of the year. That's a record you don't want. Right now, he and Chad Pennington are the only 2-time comeback players of the year. And it's like it's a sadness, you know what I mean, that's now where we're at, because I think 3 months, you guys know what I've said about this new age NFL media injury reporting.
Yeah.
Escaped all injury means he misses a week. Right. Better than expected means he misses a month. They're very concerned means he's out for the year. They're saying 3 months means we'll see you in 5. And so
we'll see you next season.
Exactly. We'll see you next season.
Like you look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones gets hit as hard as anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it seemed to escape injuries, and then some other guys get hit.
Except the one, Daniel got his knee blown out, though, one of the years. But aside from that, he's played through.
He's up there.
He takes, like Rocky-type shots.
Yeah. Coach, just because you share a seat with Greg, you don't have to ride for Daniel.
I was talking about his toughness.
It's kind of, Greg is like, Cowboys put up 40 to survive an offensive explosion from Russ and the Giants. Cowboys Wire, great website, called it, quote, an instant ugly classic. Dak threw the ball 52 times. Brandon Aubrey ties it and wins it with no time on the clock. Schottenheimer gets his first win. Brou, week 1 for the Cowboys. They lost to the champs, and you had a long soliloquy and gave them a B. So here was an offensive explosion. Professor Broussard, was this week's grade for the Cowboys?
I hate to rain on somebody's parade. All right, but look, nobody thinks the Giants are any good except Coach. All right, so I mean, Coach, let's keep it real. All right, you gave up how many points? 37 points to a team that scored 6. What did we think might be Washington's weakness this year?
It's defense.
The defense.
Yeah.
They held them to 6.
Wow.
Russ, not only did Russ leap into the time machine, but the Cowboys drove the time machine to him, opened the door, Russ, get in and go back 10 years. I mean, that was look, but Coach knows it's better than anybody. A win in the NFL is a win in the NFL. I don't take that away from them at all. Maybe they could have won last week and lost this week. So 1-1 is good. That's what the plus is for, to win. It's a C+. I can't go overboard. You almost lost at home to the Giants.
We got beat last week and they lost.
Hold on. Were they not more impressive last week against the Eagles in losing than they were in beating the Giants?
Hey, it's not the scoreboard.
Brandon Aubrey was
He's
a
phenomenal.
triple plus. And the fact that Brian Schottenheimer, after just a few months around Brandon Aubrey's like, yeah, listen, it's now, what if we don't get any yards, what is it from here, 67?
Yeah.
All right, we're safely in range.
Good.
Let's just run a draw play and send him out there. Is remarkable testament to him. Dak was great. CD did bounce back. Coach, thank God they didn't have Mike out there, or else they might have given up more than 84 yards rushing. Am I right, guys? Because I would give the Cowboys offense an A+, the defense an F, special teams an A, and so you end up with C+. Problem is this: the guy who owns the team gets you're kicked out of school for how this season's looked through 2 games. I understand we cannot judge trades for draft picks until you see what the draft picks come back as, and that would be fine if the guy who owned the team didn't tell us, oh no. This is not just for draft picks. Right. This is for right now. This is for help us today. And I watch what Micah Parsons looks like on the Packers and what the Cowboys defense looks like, really in conjunction with what the Cowboys offense looks like. And I'm like, I think 2 things. One is Micah was holding that whole thing together with scotch tape by himself defensively. And the other one is, man, if the Cowboys still had that guy, even though I didn't believe in them going into this year, they could have been really good. Yeah. And you punted on it. And so I'd give them, if the owner gets an F, then everybody's grade drops. But I agree with you in general, Brou.
Okay, so you're giving the owner an F. Now, he did hire Brian Schottenheimer, and everybody said that was a terrible hire. What the worst hire in the world. How could you ever do it? He looks pretty good compared to the other rookie head coaches. I mean, I think the team's played okay. I mean, he did make that hire, but whatever. With the kicker, here's what I'd say to Jerry. I don't know what his cap situation is or where his contract is. Extend him. Like, send him right now.
Right.
Like, just that guy is incredible. And yeah, you can. Micah would have helped in this game. I agree. However, last week they did hold Saquon Barkley to his lowest average since he's had in 17 games. I know we're disregarding that aspect of it.
I got to tell you, I was glad you weren't here that week.
I know we're disregarding that part of it, and I really appreciate the excitement that Dallas has generated. I think they've showed a ton of resilience yesterday. That could have easily been a game in the past that they lost, and you've got to give them some credit for them being able to pull out that win. And as much as not me, but you want to kill the Cowboys for winning, you still have to give them credit for finding a way to win in a game that was very unpredictable from both sides.
Cowboys-Bears coming up, so that'll, if they can get to 2-1.
They're supposed to beat the Bears now, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.